and welcome to Conversations with Leanne, where we explore the spiritual side and the human side of the topics that shape our lives. Today is a special edition because here in Australia we're celebrating the Winter Solstice. At 6:24 p.m. this evening, we'll experience the shortest day and the longest night of the year. From tomorrow onwards, our days slowly begin to grow longer again. Before we talk about the spiritual meaning of the winter solstice, I thought it might be interesting to look at where all of this actually comes from. Long before the Gregorian calendar, long before Christianity, and long before many of the holidays we celebrate today, people lived much more closely with nature. Many ancient cultures, including pagan traditions throughout Europe, observed the solstices and equinoxes because they marked important turning points in the natural year. People didn't have calendars on the wall or weather apps on their phones. They observed the movement of the sun, the length of the days, the stars, and the changing landscape to understand when to plant, when to harvest, and when it was time to prepare for the colder months ahead. An interesting piece of history is that the calendar we use today wasn't always the calendar people followed. The Julian calendar introduced by Julius Caesar in 45 BCE was slightly longer than the Earth's actual solar year. It was only out about 11 minutes each year, but over many centuries, those minutes added up, causing the calendar to slowly drift away from the seasons. By the 1500s, the spring equinox was occurring around 10 days earlier on the calendar than expected. In 1582, Pope Gregory VIII introduced the Gregorian calendar to correct that drift and realign the calendar with the Earth's journey around the sun. One of the major reasons for doing this was to ensure that Easter continued to be celebrated at the appropriate time of year following the spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. What's fascinating is that while our calendars have changed over the centuries, nature hasn't. The sun still rises and sets. The solstices and equinoxes still arrive. The seasons continue their rhythm, whether we choose to notice them or not. Let's explore the spiritual side. For thousands of years, the winter solstice has symbolized stillness, reflection, and renewal. It's a reminder that even after the longest night, the light always begins to return. Not all at once, not dramatically, just a little more each day. Now let's look at the human side. Whether or not you connect with the spiritual meaning, I think winter naturally invites us to slow down. We spend more time indoors. We seek warmth. We reflect a little more. Nature itself becomes quieter. But perhaps that's why so many of us feel drawn to pause at this time of year. Not because we're meant to stop living, but because constant productivity isn't how nature works. Trees don't bloom all year. The earth has seasons, and maybe we're allowed to have seasons too. I think that's where both perspectives meet. Whether you see today as history, astronomy, spirituality, or simply another day on the calendar, the invitation is much the same. Pause, take a breath, reflect on where you've been, notice how far you've come, and ask yourself, what would you like to carry with you into the season ahead? Thank you for joining me for this special edition of Conversations with Leanne. Until next time, believe and trust. I'm Leanne.